Welcome back, Addicts. We're here to talk about another anime review. Today we're going to be touching on My Hero Academia Season 2, which I am so sad I didn't get to use this for the first one, but now that we have the picture right, I figured, what the hell. So that's ours. I'm here with the amazing and wonderful Colton.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about it. So, Colton, you want to start us off with the plot for this second season?
Okay, so this season covers three of probably my favorite arcs, which are the UA Sports Festival, which is like the Olympics, but with people with superpowers.
It's basically if the Olympics was good.
Yeah.
There's no shame on the Olympics, but it is a lot cooler with powers.
I agree. Then it covers the Hero Killer arc, which is when you really meet the Hero Killer Stain, who, oh my god, he is just... Gotta love that. And then it covers the arc of the final exam, which is the heroes of Class 1A basically going against the teachers who are trying to portray villains. Which, I don't think they do a very good job of that sometimes.
Hey, but... you know what? It's funny seeing a villain constantly smile.
I agree.
Honestly, that's more terrifying than seeing them scowl. That's what makes the Joker so terrifying.
That's true.
So, just imagine that, but All Might level strength. You're gonna get freaking boned.
So, to kind of go into the first one, the UA Sports Festival arc is basically, like Josh said, it's basically the Olympics but better. And they go with basically three main events that you at least see. Yeah. Which is, they basically go on a run, which, I mean, okay.
Woohoo, races. Long distance. But it's a little bit different because they have some... hindrances in the road that they have to deal with.
Landmines and a giant robot and other
all the
stuff.
stuff you expect to see from the kind of show like this.
Yep.
I'll bring that on to
No, you go.
Well, I was just going to say there's a really funny comment that one of the students makes. It's like, where did they get the funding for this? It's just like, you're right. I don't understand how they get that.
I don't know, man. Then, really, I think they probably skip a few events here and there because... you can't see everything. But you figure out Deku, aka Izuku, which is... Deku's his hero name, which he basically took as his hero name because Bakugo used it as an insult, and he's like, you're funny, it's now my name. I'm gonna beat you.
We will forever refer to him as Deku.
Yeah, Deku, I love that name. And then it goes into like a cavalry battle kind of thing, which is basically... I think it's teams of 5, right?
Yes. Yeah, because there's like 4 legs and then a rider.
Yeah. And basically, you have to try to get the most points. And of course, the person you got first in the last one has the most points on their head, which is Deku. Because, why not? And basically, it kind of goes like that. He doesn't win this time, but... It's pretty interesting, everything that happens, I'll say that much.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stages to the Olympic-like event, the sporting event. There's also some, like they say, they're kind of like intermediate events, that they're not like the main events, but they're just something to keep the crowd company. Yeah. Which brings on like new characters of the season.
Which is Class 1B.
Yeah. And we get to see more of their class and what kind of powers they have, which some of them are actually really intriguing. I don't want to go into too much detail because, one, they're really cool to see because some of them, they don't reveal their quirks until a certain point in the festival. And then
even some of them now don't even have their quirks revealed, really, what they do.
Yeah. Well, my second one was I forgot their names. So, but anyway, yeah. So we get to see them, and it's really curious because they want to take down Class 1A because they've had the privilege of interacting with the League of Villains. So they kind of want to, if they think that they can one up Class A in the festival, it'll show that they're even better against villains, and that's kind of like their motivation.
Though I will say probably my favorite because after really the cavalry battle, then there's the actual fighting stuff that happens, which is pretty cool. But you see, I think my favorite fight was between one of the Class B people who has vines for hair. And basically the way she grows it is that she just has to keep water on her head and bathe in the sun, and you let photosynthesis do it, And, as all people have to do with their hair.
That's right. That's my favorite.
Sounds scientific. But basically, it's her against Lita. And he's just so fast, he's like, push, 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 push.
Yeah, that was a great one. There's, I kind of want to go into that. I'll save that for the favorite moments. But past the, like Colton was saying, there's also, after we get to see the sporting event done, we get to see kind of, the winners are ranked, and then they get to have kind of like first dibs or first picks with, entering with different heroes. And, so we get to see, Deku go with All Might's mentor, so he actually gets to handle more of his powers.
Gran Torino.
He's a pretty cool guy. And then we get to also see, like Colton said, the hero killer Stain and how he relates to, or I should say connects with the students. And then at the very end we get to see their finals, which is pretty entertaining. I guess going on to some favorite moments, that way we can go back to the sporting festival, was I really like the fight with Lita and the gear chick.
Yes.
Because she just she's like a supporter, and so all she does is make gear and gadgets for hero companies. And so the whole time she's basically just toying with him. Toying because she has toys. And he is, I mean, he wants to go easy on her, I guess, in a sense, or just wants to, he's like, oh, thank you, you know, because he's all proper and everything, but then she just uses him like that, and I love that. It's
really funny. I will say probably my second favorite fight is the last one between Shoto and Bakugo.
Okay, that's a good one, too.
And my reasoning behind it is just the way that the fight before was Shoto and Deku. And Deku kind of made Shoto realize, because you kind of get a little bit of his backstory to the fact that he hates his dad and the power that his dad gave him, which is the heat side of his body. But he refuses to use it because he hates his dad so much. But Deku's kind of like, no, you're going to like your power and you're going to use it and make it your own. And even though really it doesn't do much to help him in the long run against the fight against Bakugo, I would say that it really helps his character develop a lot more than you would probably think.
Yeah, because Shoto was a character in season 1 where you saw him and he's like aesthetically, he looked badass. Like, he looked really cool, and he was probably one of, I guess, the top tier people in the class.
Yes.
But you didn't really know much about him, and like his motives and his like personality was kind of, I guess, elusive or something like that. So you didn't really get a full feel of this character on whether or not you liked him or not, besides the fact that he just looked cool. And in this second season, you know, you get to see more of his motivations and kind of open up the human side of him, which makes him a lot more likable. And honestly, you know, I even liked him even more after that. He's pretty intriguing, especially in his fighting styles. Which, speaking of which, with this season, there's a lot of good fights. They're not all like, you know, like the
top
very
tier, you know.
They're not like the last battle of the last season, or I should say the first season, where, you know, it's life or death. There's not a, I mean, there are some like that, but, you know, like with the Sporting Festival, there's a lot of good battles where they're just kind of like clean, fun battles. And then we also get, you know, the fight between Stain and some other groups of heroes that we won't say.
Yep.
But that's really intriguing. But I think probably one of the ones that was the funnest to watch was the finals, because they're up against the heroes that are teaching at the academy. And it's not really much of a spoiler, but Deku has to battle with All Might.
Along with Bakugo.
Yeah, and that's probably the most intriguing one, because it's like they have no like middle ground whatsoever. And All Might's also, you know, he's like, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. And then some things happen. There's like one where like Deku actually prevails in, you know, conquering the idea that he's his idol for this match, you know, looking at him as a villain instead of his idol. And that moment, I really like All Might's reaction, because he's just like, huh, he did it. It's just no song like All Might's character. The principal is pretty interesting. I think this is the first time we've seen him actually fight, or, you know, be in a confrontational sense. And that was really funny. I mean, his quirk is just that he's smart, really, and adorable.
To kind of go back, because I will say one of my favorite scenes wasn't even that. It was with one of the side characters. and it was there's a guy who like shoots tape out of his elbows, which he's pretty cool.
Yeah, that guy's pretty cool.
But
like Spider-Man.
Basically like Spider-Man. And it's him and Momo, who's the girl, and she's a girl who basically any area that's like skin or covered in skin or anything like that on her body, she can create any kind of weapon or material or anything she needs. And during the UA Sports Festival, she loses in the first round, which like destroys her confidence in herself for like a long time.
I forgot that was in the second season.
But then during the final exams against Eraser, she finally gets that confidence back in herself with the tape guy, and she's like, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to do it, boom, 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 and got it all right, and just did everything perfect. And it really helps her realize, my quirk might be amazing, but I shouldn't always rely on it to get me where I need, and that she can really, truly be a leader.
Yeah, and that was really, it's, like Colton said, I think, in either earlier in this episode or like our last episode, it's, you get to see a lot of these characters that are on the center stage, I guess you could say, because they're showcased, but we don't really know much about them. And it's like one of those characters where she's really cool. Like, her quirk is pretty badass, but, we haven't seen much of her character, and so she was kind of like one of those one-dimensional characters. But definitely in, like, that episode, you really get to see more of her. Yeah. And it, just fleshes things out really nicely. And, I almost forgot about that fight scene, but as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, I know where you're going with this. And that one was a good one.
And
so
I will say that was probably my favorite memory from that season, was seeing her go from being basically, like, completely destroyed in her confidence to this person who once again has a confidence and realizes that she is actually as good as she probably thinks. But I think she also kind of got humbled by the whole situation, where she's like, because the thing you have to understand, and when Josh says she's one-dimensional, she is like one-dimensional. She is the girl in the class who's like overpowered, basically. But not only is she overpowered, but she's filthy rich.
Yeah.
So, she's really just that one-dimensional, filthy rich, overpowered character. Just like, oh, okay, you're here. Yeah. So I really think that moment where she loses and then finally gets back on her feet and realizes that she's good at being a leader really humbles her and makes her realize, I can still do this even though I lost that one time.
Mm-hmm. And that's what makes, going into the third season so exciting, is because we get to see, there's still room for other characters in the class to get more attention, so we know a little bit more about them. Yep. But overall, I think we got, a pretty good grounding of each of the characters now. And so we get to see, basically the reward of that in season 3. Them finally, just expanding into that hero level performance. And so that's really looking forward to seeing that. I also like in season 2, just briefly saying that we don't get to see a lot of the villains, but we do get to see a lot of the hero killer Stain isn't necessarily a villain, I guess you could say, because of his ideals. But, at least the League of Villains, we don't see much of them, but we do get to see enough of them where they builds them up to the point where, we're going to see them come in more full force.
Yeah.
And that's what's really interesting, too, seeing just what they're going to bring to the table against the Academy.
Especially at the end of season 2, when you finally see like that he's getting a little bit of an army together that's like actually really powerful.
Mm-hmm. And we get a little bit more of the peak of the leader.
Yes.
Now we don't get to see him, but we get to see like a story told of him when we get to hear All Might's backstory, and that is really intriguing because he's basically like the trump card against any hero.
Yep.
And so just seeing how that's going to play out, looking forward to that, as well. But getting on to our rating, the second season I think upped it from the first season, so I'm going to give it pure ecstasy because I really liked it. It's got a lot more character development, like we said. There's a good balance of action scenes. We get some good fights, and between all the characters. Mm-hmm. And I really like the variety overall.
Yes,
there went something.
And I'm going to go with him on this one. Mine were a little bit... It's kind of the same reason, but a little bit different. It's that it really shows the writer's style of things. Because you got, like... It's really weird, because tournaments are kind of the way of shonen of shonen like anime and manga, whatever you want to say, really shows like the writer's style. Like with Naruto, he introduced a lot of characters a little bit too fast, in my opinion, but he also made it so that they developed enough to where you understood them and like made them actually be like threats to Naruto. Here, it shows the writer's style, and I like it a little bit more for the reason that it's more like, I guess the best way to say it is that he focuses really on three or four characters really, and developing them. So usually Deku's always in there because he always has to be in there. You know what I mean? But it develops him, and it develops Momo, and it develops Shoto, and it develops those three a lot. But it also develops Uraka again, where she gets more of a backstory, and she gets more of like a power up and more of a boost in her own confidence in the fight against Bakugo that she had. So I really liked that.
Yeah. What would you say your rating is? About the same?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely just extreme ecstasy, just all over the place.
Yeah, and we can't wait to talk about the third season. It's currently still going on, but as soon as it gets done, we're going to have a review up for you guys, so stay tuned for that, as well as check out our other content on the YouTube channel. Yep. We got a lot of variety coming, and we got more videos out in the near future. We try to keep coming up with one every other day. I'd say it's what we're trying for. But if you also want to follow us on social media or follow our podcast on SoundCloud, the links will be in the description. So we'll just see you guys later.